Hello, welcome to another short video with Explore with Michael. Today I'm exploring Tangiers. Now I've been here very many times before, and usually I come in and I arrive at the ferry port there. And if I'm driving, I put a brick on the accelerator and I go straight down to Rabat to visit my wife's family. Or I might be picked up by a member of the family and I'm whisked off down there. So I've never really explored Tangiers, but I've had a great time the last couple of days exploring the city. And I realise a couple of days isn't really enough. It needs about a week, maybe even more. I'm actually in the Kasbah at the moment, which is of course the oldest part of the city. And when I walked in, I went through the Bab of Kasbah, and it is really peaceful and quiet and calm. And I think of it really as the calm after the storm, because Tangiers has had a very confused, checkered history. It's been bombarded, seized, besieged by as many peoples as Jerusalem, for example. It's the oldest inhabited city in Morocco. It's been occupied by, inhabited by the Phoenicians, the Carthaginians, the Byzantines, the Berbers, who are the indigenous people, the Arabs, the Portuguese, the British, the Spanish, and it makes your head swell, the history of this particular place. Also, of course, it features in Greek mythology, because this was the stomping ground of Hercules. This is where he had a lot of his adventures and misadventures. But speaking historically, I suppose one of the most interesting landmarks or times in history was the early 700s, when Musa ibn Nasir arrived here with, I've heard it described as a military missionaries, and they tried to establish Islam here. Now, Musa was an Arab, but he had a slave called Tariq, who was a Berber, and he left him in charge of Tangiers, and he went back to Tunisia, which was his headquarters at the time. Now Ziyad took it upon himself to invade Spain, which is across the water here. Actually, the narrowest point between Morocco and Spain is about 8 miles. And very often when we think of these wars, we think of Muslims and Christians. But actually it's not that, it's a little bit more complicated than that. And in fact, Julian, the Count of Septa, he was a Christian, and he urged and he encouraged Tariq to invade Spain, because King Roderick, a Visigoth king in Spain, had seduced, raped his daughter, and he was receiving no compensation, no justice. So with that, he urged Tariq to invade. And in fact, Tariq went straight across to Gibraltar, and Gibraltar is actually an anglicized version of the name Jabal Tariq. So Jabal Tariq means actually the mountain of Tariq. For a long while, until the 1400s, Tangier was occupied by various Arab and various Berber dynasties. And then in the 1400s, the Portuguese seized lots of Moroccan cities, Essaouira, Safi and Tangiers. They were on a kind of a crusading and trading mission. They were expanding. And they ruled Tangiers until the 1600s, 1661 in fact. And then at that point it passed into the hands of the British, who kept it for about 25 years. But they didn't do a very good job. In fact, they incensed the local population so much that they were expelled, and poor things, they left with their tails between their legs. And Tangier remained in the control of Moroccan Berbers. Excuse excuse the wind, it's blustery, very blustery. Anyway, then time moved on, and in the late 1700s, trade, the world was expanding, and traders were coming here. The British set up consuls and legates here, the French, Dutch, Portuguese, etc. And then, in the early 1900s, well, in fact, in 1912, the French seized seized Morocco and made it a protectorate. But actually, over that time, Tangiers had become a kind of an international city, and the British over in Gibraltar, they were worried. They wanted this place to remain neutral. And in fact, in 1923, the Protocol of Tangiers was signed, and it came under the sway, about 140 square miles of this area came under the sway of the French and the Spanish, and they guarded it. And during that time, until Morocco got its independence in 1956, it had a reputation for deregulated banking, and it became an attractive place for vice, homosexual vice, regular vice, and also it was a cheap place to live. So very many people, very many artists came here, and writers and so forth. And this town still has their stamp on it. Now, I'm going to make a few more videos here. I'm going to show you some other points of interest. But for the moment, if you like this video, press subscribe and like. Thank you very much.